All right, well, last night I rolled into one of my favorite places in America, the town of Gettysburg, and holy smokes, since I was last here, there have been a lot of new items that have showed up here at the Gettysburg Museum of History. So today, we're going to dodge into the new annex here at the museum and take a look at a few of the new historic artifacts that have arrived here at the museum since I was here last.
We're going to feature a few new items here at the Gettysburg Museum of History. Now we're in the annex portion in my temporary office, and we're trying to build the new museum, and I'm going to show you a few items as they come in that are not really on display yet in the current museum, but they'll be in the new part. And there's a nice little variety here. I'm going to start out with a couple of World War I items. So this is a World War I U.S. canteen, and it has some interesting artwork on here. A soldier put the globe and anchor for the U.S. Marine Corps with the eagle on top, but there's also a Masonic symbol in the middle and the initials JM. So sometimes soldiers would decorate their canteens like that, and it's just a very interesting symbol with incorporating both the Marine Corps symbol and the Masonic symbol. This is a artillery shell, and I got this on one of our recent trips with Andy Biggio with the Rifle Project. And a lot of times you'll see these that are engraved similar to the canteen. This one, however, was painted, which I thought was really interesting. It has a nice scene of an outdoor scene. And I bought this in a little local shop in Europe, and without thinking too much that it may be a little difficult to get home. So I put it in my suitcase and wrapped it up and hoped for the best, and it made it through, so they didn't get upset about it. This is a World War I U.S. gas mask, and what's unique about it is it has some very nice artwork on there, and it has the patriotic scene with the American and French flag, and has the guy's name and the eagle. So that's just really cool artwork, and you see these on the gas mask. Sometimes you see paint, sometimes on the helmets as well, but it's more common on the helmets. But I just thought that this one was a really nice example, so we picked this up for the museum very recently.
All right, now here are a few other new items that recently arrived at the museum. If you've watched any of the past episodes, you know that I have a bit of a soft spot for painted helmets and different items with artwork on them. And if you look at these two helmets, you can see that they're both Luftschutz helmets. And it was common practice for soldiers to take these German helmets and decorate them. And it looks as if both of these helmets were decorated by the same artist. So that's another thing that would be common. You have one guy in the outfit who has some artistic talent, and then he would decorate these helmets for people in his unit to take home as souvenirs. So these helmets give us a little bit of a chronicle of the service of these men. So here we can see the insignia for the 7th Army, and then if we just look here all around, well, it has different places where these guys fought. And then if we look on the back, well, we can see the unit insignia for the 63rd Infantry Division. That's a division that isn't really as well known, doesn't get a whole lot of attention. So they came in early December of 1944. Again, we're with the 7th Army and fought, all the way through Germany and all the way through to the end of the war. Here you can see on this one has the date 1946 on it. So this is a guy who was one of the military police, and of course like I said, these were probably done during the occupation. Okay, here you see the name Karlsruhe. That's right there along the Rhine River. But yeah, these are always quite interesting and help to tell a little bit of a story.
A few more items that came in recently are some Japanese items. This is a turn and bank indicator from a Japanese aircraft. So when you would turn one way, the indicator would move, and also it would be hooked up with this piece here. And that Japanese characteristic means left, and that means right. So the vet that brought this home called this from this gauge from coming from a 0, you know, and I think a lot of the vets that picked up things like this called almost all Japanese aircraft 0s. But when we looked it up and did a little bit of basic research on it, it said that these were actually in many different types of aircraft, because it's a pretty basic instrument. But we'll say it's from a 0 because that's what the veteran said, so that sounds really good. So that's a neat piece. You don't see a lot of Japanese aircraft parts being brought home by vets. Another really unique Japanese piece that came in is this headpiece. Now, this is similar to what we call a 1,000-stitch belt, and we have featured 1,000-stitch belts on this channel many times. And they were for protection and blessings, and someone in the Japanese soldier's life, probably their mother or their wife, would make this thing by putting 1,000 different stitches in. These are hand stitched. This particular one, instead of being a belt like you normally see, this is like a headpiece, so you could wear this underneath your helmet or underneath a pilot's helmet as well. And it also has temple stamps on it, so they would go to a temple, and by going to that temple, it makes it into like a holy pilgrimage, and it was part of the blessing of this piece, and it was supposedly for protection in battle and to help the soldier in his fight. And it's pretty intricate, or it's pretty interesting, and because I've never seen one. You know, I've seen the belts many times, but this is the first time I've really seen one of these headpieces. I've heard of them, but this is the first one we've actually had at the museum. And it also has a little bit of Japanese characteristics back there and several temple stamps. But what an interesting item. You know, after seeing so many of the belts, this is the first headpiece that we've encountered.